by thanking the VST team, ECS team for inviting us to present the session this afternoon. I trust that all of you can see my presentation.
Yes, we can see Ivan.
Okay, fantastic. Well, this afternoon, just want to kick off very quickly before I introduce my esteemed colleagues, Bernard and Matthew, to walk through the offers that we're putting out in the Philippines market. We're really excited to be here this afternoon and to be invited by VST. So I'm also the Alliance Manager and Partnership Manager for VST ECS. And thank you all for joining us this afternoon. So very quickly to move ahead, how is this partnership evolving and how do we help provide a cloud solution in the Philippines market? So I just wanted to set the stage in just a couple of minutes just to explain to you why are we doing this. Last year, we actually sat down strategically at Rackspace and we worked with our key global partner, Dell, and we were looking to see how can we address cloud-ready solutions in the Philippines market. So in the screen here, what you can see is that the world is expecting a lot of things as a service, you know, and this pandemic that we are still undergoing right now at COVID-19, so many things have been affected, so many businesses affected. But cloud-like companies seem to continue to thrive. And over the last 5 to 10 years, you see companies like Uber, you've got Grab, you've got Netflix, you know, and these sort of organizations continue to thrive and continue to grow because they are providing a service that customers really want. The situation on the ground today is this. When we look at the customers that we service at Rackspace across Asia Pacific, many organizations that we speak with are trying to pursue transformation. And so are you. I think many of you who are attending today, you're attending because you really want to understand what are the options to cloud? Is public cloud better? How does private cloud come in? Is there an on-premise solution? How can it all integrate together? So the reality is we spoke to organizations like Gartner, and Gartner has cited that 66% of organizations state that they're transforming, they're trying to transform and willing to transform. But the reality on the ground is that it's very challenging. The reality is that as much as many organizations are trying to transform today, it is not so easy. Access to resources is tough. Access to ability to deploy cloud services, skills training, it is really, truly challenging. So I just want to finish off my introduction and then I'll pass the time to Bernard. And these are some of the situations that we see as we talk to customers around Asia. Why are different reasons why customers are trying to transform their business? And I think that you probably can identify some of these options and recommendations that we are seeing here, creating new business models, adopting new technology across the cloud, buying it, in a slightly different way, in a operating expense model rather than buying it all up front. What are the ways that we can use it? Taking advantage of some of the new delivery of products and services that customers want, mobile-based technology, cloud-based technology, and these are also important, yeah? So it depends where you're at in your business cycle, whether you're just trying to optimize or whether you're trying to transform, or you're just trying to save money. I think it's so important, in businesses that we speak to, cost is always a concern today. So to do this is where we feel Rackspace can come in. And to do these sort of transformation, it's not so simple as I explained. And these are some of the challenges that organizations face, whether you have a lot of legacy applications that you're trying to implement on the cloud. Is it compatible? And for example, I speak to different customers on SAP as an enterprise resource planning product. They have different versions, and trying to put in a new version sometimes takes a little bit more effort, and you need to have compatibility. Do you do it on your own data center? Do you put it on a cloud? What about having the right resources and change management? All these things are issues that organizations have to face. CIOs like yourself, IT managers, developers, all have to address some of these concerns here. So it can be quite scary transforming the cloud. That's why VST ECS have invited so many key partners today to share our experiences and some of the challenges and complexity in transforming to the cloud itself. So here are some of the initiatives that we are supporting at Rackspace with the VST ECS team in the Philippines. We're helping customers to initiate what's the best, what are the different ways of defining your cloud strategy, what are the pros and cons of the different platforms that we've got, how do you secure it, and how do you optimize it, okay? And what I want to do right now is to pass the time over to Bernard, my general manager for South Asia, and he's going to share with you a little bit more about how we actually help customers across Asia Pacific. So over to you, Bernard, at this moment. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Ivan, and it's fantastic to be here. Thank you to VST ECS for inviting us, and many thanks to all the attendees for being here and engaging with us today. Rackspace has been in the private cloud business from when it used to be called traditional managed hosting. And in some ways, that's a category that Rackspace invented in the late 1990s and early 2000s. So Rackspace has a lot of experience in helping organizations really turn data center expenses into more straightforward operating expenses while delivering the scalability, the reliable performance, and that transformational technical agenda that organizations are particularly in need of in this post-COVID world. We've seen very large growth within the private cloud space, even as public cloud businesses are taking off, because organizations know that many applications are not the best fit for public cloud, but they often need something that's different from their data center, and particularly when capital expense budgets are being scrutinized. Rackspace provides both that firm and solid foundation on which for organizations to build that agenda, as well as the knowledge of up the stack application architecture, security planning, and data and analytics within a straightforward set of expertise and skills within the account team that really let our customers, our partners, engage in their core business and build that solid foundation for their growth. We have a global scale. We're about 7,000 employees strong now and growing particularly fast in APJ, where the very rapid move of many economies, including the Philippines in particular, into a digital age has driven a really high demand for technology skills and for sound hosting infrastructure planning. Rackspace delivers a very solid amount of expertise across really the whole gamut of technologies that organizations use, including knowledge of public cloud, including knowledge of Windows and Red Hat type environments, as well as those other applications that organizations are running as critical workloads. Importantly, though, we are unbiased in our expertise. We have a very strong public cloud capability as well as our private cloud piece, which means that when customers hear a direction from us, when they ask us a question, we're always going to be able to deliver an authoritative answer. And Rackspace operates at global scale. That gives particularly Philippine multinationals who may be looking to build for the wider world, those BPOs, those organizations that have global ambitions. We can deliver account management for you, for your customers within region, but with the data, with the platform hosted wherever in the world it makes the most sense for engaging with those customers, including right here in APJ. We've been a Dell technology partner for 19 years and counting. They were one of our original seed investors way back in the day. And we're one of only 14 titanium partners globally, which gives us a really strong alignment with VST as well as with the Dell reseller community to provide managed solutions in a way that aligns very well with the incentive structures that partners have, as well as providing for customers a best of breed solution for running VMware, for running OpenStack where relevant, as well as for running things like Kubernetes and data platforms. With VMware, we have a 15-year relationship. We're one of their 3 largest partners globally in terms of the number of virtual machines under management. And we provide a full portfolio of services, including straightforward hosting, as well as the full cloud and data portfolio. This puts us in a really strong position to help, particularly when those corporate clients are looking to do something that releases a little bit of control from them, and they want to make sure they're working with experts. The local reach of the organizations we're talking to here, combined with the real depth of technical expertise and global technical expertise that Rackspace can offer, we believe is a winning combination for delivering private cloud into the Philippines market. I want to just have a couple of relevant case studies. So Hong Kong Express have been a Rackspace customer for many, many years. They have a very lean IT team, but highly regulated and critical applications. And delivering that as a managed service has helped them to really deliver innovation and compete with the larger airlines that they have to contend with without missing anything in terms of uptime, in terms of those security requirements, or in terms of the innovation that they need to deliver to justify their status as a challenger airline. Pickles is an Australian customer with a very large online presence that have seen a huge spike in traffic, particularly during COVID times. And they had a challenge where an aging application environment couldn't cope with that extra demand, as well as with the high rate of feature release. Rackspace delivered a very strong solution, which they bought into to help transform and really to underpin that growth in a way that could give them a 5-year plan for completely transforming the way they run their technology. And then Coinstar, a financial services customer. Financial services is another key area of strength for Rackspace, and one where there's been tremendous innovation, both from the fast-moving fintechs, as well as from the banks who know that their continued existence relies on transforming the way they engage with their customers. Change is difficult because it's a highly regulated environment, but that pace of change has had to sharply accelerate. And so many of these organizations trust Rackspace to deliver that much higher agility that they need, while underpinning the security, the compliance, the process rigor that they need with any new technology that they take on. And that is it. So I will hand over to Matt Heap, our APJ, Head of Solution Architecture and Professional Services, who will talk you through some of the offerings that we've planned with VST that we would believe will be relevant. Over to you, Matt.
Thanks, Bernard. Excellent. So, what we're talking about here today, the Cloud Summit, is really around preparing for cloud. And when we look at what does Rackspace mean by cloud, we do mean a lot of different things. So it can mean public cloud, hybrid cloud, and what we're here to talk to you about today is private cloud. And as Ivan mentioned, it is as a service. What do we mean by as a service? Is we offer an end-to-end managed service right up to hosting of those VMs for our customers in the case of the private cloud. Exact same idea of storage as service. We provide that as a managed service with an availability uptime in all these different types of flavors that we've mentioned here. So the two things I want to talk to you about today are our partnerships with VMware and our capability of running that private cloud with Rackspace, as well as our partnerships with Dell and our ability to bring that Dell storage line as a service to our customers at a global scale. So when we talk about private cloud, what do we mean by private cloud? We mean they're really the best place to run any single VMware workload. We run absolutely, as Bernard mentioned, hundreds of thousands of VMs for customers in our different data centers. We've been 15 years as a key partner. We, all those areas of certification and that validation from VMware that we'll be able to provide very high service levels for our VMware customers, and that we can support that entire VMware ecosystem. So we're no longer just talking about VM hosting, but really that full extent of the VMware platform, whether it's the cost optimization in Cloud Health, whether it's Tanzu and their capabilities around Kubernetes, all their other services that just go beyond what we all know and love VMware for, but where we find still a lot of our customers, really struggling to maintain and actually get to those new services that they want to achieve. In terms of our innovation, we work very closely with VMware to innovate our services and our platforms, so we can actually bring, allow customers to bring their own network devices into our data centers, bring their own customized capabilities, because as much as we recognize that as a service is going to be able to maintain 50 to maybe 90% of what most of you are going to require in the cloud, a lot of companies still do have their 5 or 10% solutions that are really unique to them, and we're able to achieve that with both our managed services and our professional services. When we talk about what we're able to achieve with our private cloud services, it comes in two different flavors. And what I mean is that we are able to provide the software-defined data center, not only within all of the Rackspace data centers, but we're also able to provide the hardware, we're able to provide the licensing. But on top of that, we're also able to provide all that engineering capability, whether it's in NSX, whether it's in vRealize, whether it's in many of those new automated capabilities out of VMware that you've known about since you've been running VMware for a long time, but you've never been able to run alongside that. What we're also able to do is integrate that with your existing VMware infrastructure, whether that's, let's say, on an AWS on VMC, or VMC on AWS, where you're able to run VMware infrastructure on AWS, or maybe that's your existing vCenters investments that you've got. We're able to connect all those together and really give you that true hybrid experience, both at the VM level, the networking level, and really bring that together with a single automation capability as well. That really is missing from a lot of hybrid cloud solutions today. So what actually is Rackspace Private Cloud by VMware? It's a single tenant private cloud powered by the Dell PowerEdge technology line. It provides very competitive and monthly based OpEx billing, It is that VMware that you know and love that you're able to bring on your applications very quickly. You're also able to bring on new Kubernetes-based applications very simply based on those extended service levels. But in terms of the architecture, it's really focused around that VMware Cloud Foundation capability, meaning that you do get that vCenter, the vSAN, which is the distributed storage or HCI component, as well as the virtual NSX storage. We do provide an internet capability, powered by our global network. And it does start from about 4 nodes, whether that's on the PowerEdge or the VxRail implementation. And that means we are able to give a very aggressive SLA in terms of uptime SLAs on the platform, as well as on the network. When you host things in the Rackspace data centers, you also get a 1-hour hardware replacement SLA that we're able to replace any part that is essentially broken in that time frame. And really, we've got credits and all these different things that are against that. Outside of the VMware and the actual hosting within the data center, we are able to provide things like guest operating system capabilities. We are able to integrate with the use of HCX, which is the hybrid connectivity platform from Rackspace, from VMware. With DR, we're able to fail over between countries very easily using the likes of Site Recovery Manager, as well as Zerto, and even integrating with Cloud Endure and the equivalents from GCP and Azure with that capability. We're also able to provide backup services, both at a file and VM level, to allow you to have not only backups, but archives. And obviously, none of these is possible without security services that we can add on here. And I know we mentioned use cases here, but I'll move on to the next case of why we think this is the best use case. So why do we think it's really the best? Is that we're able to select exactly where you want to host these workloads. We're able to size the environment in a way that not only will it scale, but it'll start at the right size for you, so you get that right sizing from day one. In terms of economics, Ivan will go through this in a little bit, but we think we can really save huge amounts of whether you're looking at this against public cloud offerings or just looking at doing a refresh in your data center today, really giving you that predictable cost, similar to that you might have in your own data center, but we're able to provide this in an operating, an OpEx model, but really in a very efficient model. As we are using, also our VMware licensing is very attractive for our customers. In terms of that right resource, what we bring to that market is not only that partnership that we've maintained with Dell and VMware for a long time, but it's all that also that standardization. So we've been able to, through our experience of running those 100,000 VMs, we know how to operate from the very smallest implementation of a few, 5 or 10 VMs, all the way to hundreds of VMs to thousands of VMs for customers. And that's really allowed us to build these standard configurations, integrating with those integrated solutions like the VxRail solutions, able to provide that security of a single tenant solution. And there's no real lock-in because we're providing all of those vCenter APIs and the extended VMware APIs that you've been using throughout all your different software vendors that you've been maintaining for a lot of years. So when we're looking at how to get onto cloud, we think this is one of the easier and safer ways of actually getting into cloud. So not only do we have the expertise, really, over 200 VMware certified engineers, but also access to 3,000 plus engineers that really have seen workloads exactly like yours. But we're also able to bring together, like everybody on this call today, is VMware, Dell, Rackspace, and everybody today, and really helping get to that business outcome that Ivan said is so difficult for customers to get to because of all of the challenges that we've mentioned there that customers go through. When we look at the roles and responsibilities in the Rackspace private cloud, there is something to note that, again, it is as a service. And what do we mean by as a service is those items below the line here on the red are being provided by Rackspace on a continuous basis to the customer. So obviously we are providing the cloud operations, that's the 24/7 service desk for the VMware platform itself. We're able to provide secure networking capabilities, not only firewalls, but switches, routers, and internet capabilities, as well as that hybrid connectivity into public cloud. And we'll get to some of the challenges that some of our customers have had with connectivity in public cloud. Talked about the SLAs on the hardware, but that's the full life cycle of the hardware, from procurement to when after the actual end of life of that equipment, we'll manage that end to end all the way through that life cycle. And COVID has been one of those really interesting periods of, did you actually have access to your data center for all of 2020 and all of 2021? Or was there severe restrictions of you actually, A, either getting access to that building, or B, allowing vendors to actually sign into these buildings? This is something that Rackspace was already very well prepared for in terms of our BCP plans across all of our data centers, whether it's from our experience with typhoons in Hong Kong, from various other experience in various different data centers of what happened, what do you do if there's power outages on part of a building, what do you do if there's one part of the network goes down. These are all things we've been managing and maintaining for that 20 years of capability, right down to the physical security of do you have your biometrics to actually get into the right part of the facility. As we all know, cloud is a continuing and evolving space. So that advising and optimizing, just because the right solution for the customer may be private cloud today, as a customer gets more involved in cloud, they are going to want more flexibility. They're going to have questions around best practices. How do they actually go on, use a new VMware feature as it's released to market? Those are all included in that service. And finally, that SLA around not only uptime but response times to actually get you back online running, not only just for outages but for P1 incidents that maybe your applications are just having an issue. Rackspace are there to help customers with that. When we look at in the purple area, these are areas that we can actually take on for you as necessary. But really, these are what we see our customers wanting to retain control of, specifically the application and really that level 1 support to their end customers. So, while there's a lot of control the customer still retains over red, the accountability is still there for Rackspace. And when we look at the purple, this is really what we would expect the customer to continue to retain in terms of responsibilities. If we look at how do we operate, as I mentioned, it is that 4 nines API uptime that we provide. That means the ability to stop, start, restart, deploy a new VM, create a new disk, whatever that might be. We have a 15-minute response time SLA. This is based on our long-term, managed service and fanatical support around being there for our customers when they need us to be. In terms of within our data centers, we are, like I mentioned already, we have a fleet of tier 1 ISPs that we provide as a blended internet service for our customers. And we are actually able to provide extremely high-level SLAs for mission critical infrastructure. So think of this at the telco grade kind of level, but for virtual machines. And we haven't really talked about the 10-hour option today, but that's if we're operating that solution in a customer's premise. But the primary one is that 1-hour replacement. But when we talk about operations, we're talking about that manage, monitoring, and optimizing. Patching still today can be very difficult for somebody that's got not only a large VMware fleet, but also needs to update their VMware estate on a regular basis. And actually upgrading that VMware estate can be quite tricky. That's why we've partnered with Dell to maintain that turnkey upgrade capability within the VxRail platform, along with the rest of the Dell PowerEdge line. Anybody that knows VCF will recognize this architecture pretty well. It is single tenant. That means a customer will always know exactly where their data is. They'll know that they don't have a noisy neighbor issue. They know that their security boundaries are very clear. As with any kind of a software-defined data center, we do have that compute, networking, and storage virtualized tier. And this is really the foundation that everything would be built on for a customer running this solution. Then we look at how we package this up for VST ECS customers, is really starting with what the smallest footprint really looks like. And we believe it's around that 80 VM kind of mark for really being able to provide this at really cost-effective manner, including not only the hardware, the licenses, the data center, the power, the cooling, the networking, all included in that offer. And we've started it at that 80 VM mark. There's quite small VMs or mid-sized VMs, and it really starts at for hypervisor nodes. If you know the Dell PowerEdge platform well, you'll recognize that vSAN ready node, AF4, AF6, AF8. But we do have other flavors that are available, especially in the VxRail platform. In terms of things that are not really are available on request, would be that managed operating system, providing AV, providing monitoring of the operating system, providing backups, and providing actual migration into the environment. Most of our customers, we provide them that HCX capability, and then they're able to migrate their workloads in themselves. So that's the end of my VMware section. I'm going to move into private cloud. Let me just check the Q&A section before I move on to private storage. No. Okay, great. Let's move on to storage. So as Ivan mentioned right at the beginning, it is always still expected as a storage. Anybody that's had large storage arrays, if you have a failure in this area, there is going to be typically significant business impact. And really, storage expertise is becoming more and more difficult to access. And that's why we are, as a seasoned service provider, able to provide large management of large Dell arrays very quickly for a customer. Not only are they installed, provisioned, maintenance, patching, all those things that you'd expect from a managed service. But we are able to help you bring and get control of your data. And I'll get to that in a little bit around what do we mean by that. When you put your data in the public cloud, every time you access that data, you pay to access that data. It's a per gig fee. We've got a solution that we believe very attractive in the market, that you actually keep control of the costs of accessing that data in a much more manageable way. We're able to move your data around the globe. Obviously, some GDPR alarm bells might go out. This is completely in your control of how we replicate that data. And then when we look at, what are the other items I've got mentioned here, we've got really security and performance features that are really aimed at the enterprise and really allow us to bring Dell's strong storage background and capability to our customers without them having to maintain a storage expert. So, you may look at all the features available within a Dell storage array and say, look, I think that's really a good fit for my customer, but how am I actually going to enable that before we get to the before we get to how much training does this customer going to have. As a service, we're able to take all of that complexity away from you as a customer. So in terms of what are the flavors of storage that we're able to provide, really it falls into three kind of solutions. Block solution, very well known in as being a SAN solution. File solutions, being from Dell, as well as object solutions. So what we've provided is not only block solutions where we can provide fiber channel capabilities right up to the hypervisor for a lot of customers that do want to extend storage or provide a non-HCI based storage solution on the VMware platform. Provided when we're able to provide that in a multi-tenant or a single tenant solution. On a dedicated SAN solution, we are able to provide all the bells and whistles that you might want to use. Whereas in the multi-tenant solution, it really is that standard capability of really high performance, highly available block storage for you and your customers. And we really go up to around 50 terabytes on those, very cost effective and can scale up immediately in terms of what can be done there. In terms of our dedicated solutions, then we'll talk about this further in the data freedom component. This is basically a purpose-built Dell storage array, and we're able to customize that completely to your needs. And we can hit that performance capability you need, as well as the capacity needs that you have. We do have a kind of a starting advice of that of 50 terabytes. If it's a requirement less than 50 terabytes, it's likely going to be more cost effective to run it either on the HCI solution on the VMware platform or in the multi-tenant SAN solution. The dedicated NAS solution really is for all your unstructured data needs that you have, all your archive and all your data needs, data backup needs that you're going to have. And primarily accessed via NFS and Samba. Really strong background, going from the Isilon days and beyond that, can be designed on the Unity solutions or the Isilon solutions. Really high performance file needs based, really can be designed for your needs. And then onto objects, with Rackspace being a founding member of the OpenStack Foundation, we really have that strong history with Ceph, the really common object storage platform. And we're able to put together really bespoke Ceph clusters for customers that can really scale as and when required for both performance and scaling needs, all based on that object protocol that a lot of the AI ML workloads are using today. So something that we're really proud of that we're able to offer. In terms of the ways that we do offer those, we are able to provide them in 3 or 4 different SLAs. So just as a colo offering, we provide them, you're able to go in and configure as you want. We're able to provide as a 3 other managed service levels. That's called infrastructure, where we provide you a break fix capability on that as well. But within that, 15 minutes in terms of response time. Managed, where we'll work with you on a hand in hand to get that storage configuration exactly what you need. And then intensive is really our highest service level, where you get really day-to-day contact with not only our storage engineers, but our lead engineers that will be expected to work with you every day. When I was teasing this earlier, was our data freedom solution. And what data freedom is that ability to really take control of your ingress fees, of really how do you really take control of that? And it's about moving the data into a area where you've got control and where you're able to establish fixed costs for your for your solution. So if you've got large egress fees out of the public cloud right now, we'd love to talk to you about what's causing those and how we think we can help you reduce those. And I'll pass you over to Ivan to just review some of those items we spoke about just now.
Thanks, Matt. Really appreciate your sharing, and thank you, Bernard, also. So what I want to do right now is just to wrap up the use cases that we at Rackspace and VST ECS is able to help you, and then we'll open for some questions too. How can we help you? So you've listened to the suggestions and the recommendations from Rackspace on VMware and on storage. These are some of the use cases that we have seen working with customers across Asia, and I feel that they would be also very relevant for your consideration. On the left, if you have cost and margin pressures on the business and you're trying to find ways to optimize costs using our private cloud offering, I think we'll love to have a conversation to see how we can optimize and work on your technology solution. Matthew already suggested one simple way is the data freedom offering that we've got at Rackspace, where we can help you to save on your storage costs. Other areas are enhancing your VMware investments. If you're doing consolidation or you're doing a tech refresh, maybe you're trying to figure out, should I put it, buy a new set of equipment? Do I put it on public cloud? Do I put it on private cloud? Why is private cloud very interesting from Rackspace? And I'm going to show you my final slide on the next page to show you some of the TCO. I think you'll be very, very interested to have a conversation with us. End of life roadmap, data integrity. If you're looking at different solutions in that space, we'll be happy to have a chat with you to help you to map out your future solution using VMware at our private cloud or on storage itself. So with that in mind, on the right-hand side are some of the things that we're offering, like assessments. We can provide cloud assessments. We can provide a good level discussion with you from Matthew's team to be able to sit down with the VST engineers and to work alongside yourself. Fantastic. So this is my last slide, the money slide, yeah? Very interesting as Rackspace is providing different cloud-like solutions in the industry itself, and we are really advocating private cloud. The reason is very obvious. We can offer a very high quality solution at a cost that is very, very compelling. We've got over 100,000 customers under our books for many, many years. We've seen a lot of on-prem solutions, which are very good. We've also seen a lot of public cloud solutions, which are very good. I think, but we want to propose to you, listeners today, that we have an option and a solution which can deliver the power and performance that you require at a cost that is very, very competitive. So if you'd like to understand more of this, this slide was created by one of the industry providers, and we just added our total cost of ownership, and we think it's very, very compelling for you to consider. So come have a chat with us. As a call to action, request for a free assessment. Talk to your VST ECS account manager, or our account manager there is Sean Gudani. Have a chat with him, schedule some time with us, and we'd love to have a conversation to see how we can help you to grow your business using our private cloud offering. So thank you very much on behalf of Rackspace for listening to us. I hope you have a good rest of the afternoon, and you've got questions right now, we'll do our best to answer them. Okay, I'll pass the time back to the VST team. Thank you.